This video is a review of the Nanlite MixPanel 150, a professional LED light panel that can do just about everything. Soft key lighting, hard accent lighting, practical lighting effects. I mean, really, an entire studio of lights in one package. In this video, I'll be covering all the different lighting modes, the settings, configurations. But if you don't have time today for a long video and already know about the light and what it does, you probably just want to know one thing. Is it any good? Well, yeah, it's good. The MixPanel 150 is not your average RGB panel light. It is a professional tool, an investment really that retails at the time of this video for a little over $1,000. So it is a serious light for photographers, videographers, and filmmakers. But once we get into the details here, I think you'll see what makes the MixPanel different and why it commands a higher price than your average budget-friendly RGB light. Also, this video will focus on the 150, but there is also the smaller, more affordable model, the MixPanel 60. Both lights include the same lighting modes and options, so if you're interested in the MixPanel 60, this review will effectively cover the functionality of that light as well. All right, before we begin, as usual, in full disclosure, Nanlite sent me the MixPanel 150 for the purposes of this review. I did not pay for this light, nor has Nanlite paid for this video. They also have not seen this video prior to publication. So everything in this video is my opinion and experience using the light. With all that out of the way, let's begin by taking a look at the basic specs. The panel of the MixPanel 150 is 15 inches wide by 11 inches high. The light consumes 164 watts of power and may be powered through a wall outlet anywhere in the world using an included 100 to 240 VAC adapter, or you can power the light using V-mount batteries sold separately. The MixPanel 150 weighs 9 pounds or 4.1 kilograms, so it's light enough to be used handheld, or it may be securely mounted to a light stand or C-stand through a 5/8 of an inch mount on the bottom. The MixPanel includes metal barn doors that shape and control light output. These doors are a single unit that securely clip into an integrated frame around the front of the light. They can obviously be easily removed, as I've done here when not in use, or when you need to attach a softbox, which I will cover in a minute. All controls are on the back of the panel, including its power switch, a USB firmware port, the AC power plug, DMX input and output for professional light boards, a display, plus an intuitive user interface here for all the different light modes and effects. For storage and travel, the MixPanel also comes with a large, soft, padded case. All right, now let's cover the most important part of the MixPanel. Of course, we're talking about the light itself. The MixPanel isn't simply one light, but rather, as indicated by its name, 3 types of lights in one enclosure. It has a multi-LED panel, which is what you see here, for hard lighting, an SMD LED panel for softer diffused lighting, and an RGB panel for a variety of creative lighting effects. Every type of light on the MixPanel offers variable brightness between 0 and 100% with very low light output, as you see here, when set to a low number like 1 or 2%, which means in practical use, the MixPanel could very well be dim enough for super low lighting setups without having to resort to using ND filters on a camera or adding additional layers of diffusion in front of the light in order to lower its brightness below its minimum value. As for maximum brightness, I mean, how bright can this thing get? Well, pretty bright. The MixPanel 150 outputs around 11,000 lux from approximately 3 feet or 1 meter away. The light, however, can get even brighter in boost mode, which outputs nearly 15,000 lux from the same distance. By the way, I will explain boost mode in greater detail later in this video. As for color accuracy, Nanlite claims an average CRI and TLCI value of 95, which means the quality of light is very high on average. And by average, I mean Accuracy may be slightly higher or lower depending on your lighting mode and brightness, but overall, it does a good job across the board of representing colors accurately. Now let's take a look at the 5 light modes on the mix panel. We have CCT, HSI, RGBW, gel, and effects. CCT is the white light mode. You may dial in any color temperature between 2500 and 7500 Kelvin. You may also mix in green or magenta to give the white light a slight tint for creative applications or color matching the light to other lights. But what's especially cool about the white light on this mix panel is the choice it offers between hard and soft light. The light is hard by default, which means the light is bright with strong shadows and contrast. But press the CCT button again on the back of the panel and the white light magically transforms to soft and diffused. In practical use, this means you may then easily switch between hard and soft light without placing a modifier in front of it. But if you want even softer light than this, Nanlite also sells inexpensive softboxes for both the MixPanel 60 and the 150. To attach the softbox, simply remove the barn doors if currently attached, unfold the softbox, wrap it around the corners, then attach diffusion. The softbox also comes with a honeycomb grid to control light spill. Now let's take a look at gels. The MixPanel 150 includes over 43 emulated gels for adding a touch of cyan, yellow, green, or other colors to white light using either 3200 or 5600 Kelvin. But for colors with the most customization and control and richer, more saturated light, the HSI mode is what you're after. This is the MixPanel 150 at its most dramatic. You may dial in any hue you want between 0 and 255. That's actually way too bright, and I can dial it back down to about 20% there, and I can change the hue. And something like that looks, at least to my eyes on the monitor, looks about right. And that's only at 13%. Really? I don't think this is quite the right time, but all right, we'll just see how long she decides to hang out. In addition to gels, there's also an RGBW mode. RGBW stands, of course, for red, green, blue, and white. You have independent control over white light, and then you can also dial in whatever values you want for the individual red, green, and blue channels. So if you're looking for just something that's very specific, looking to dial in a very specific color with color mixed with white light, and you don't want to use a gel emulation or use the RGB mode, then mixing your own color with the RGBW mode is the one that you probably want to use. All right, then finally we have effects. The mix panel has the usual assortment of effects like paparazzi, police car, etc., which many RGB lights offer as well. But the mix panel effects, I guess that was enough, but the mix panel effects are more customizable, so they're worth discussing in detail. By the way, quick warning, there is going to be a little strobing and flashing of light in this next segment. Effects on the mix panel include candle, which resembles the glow of open flame with options for brightness, hue, and even random flickers of light to make the effect more organic. CCT loop, which is white light that cycles between a minimum and maximum color temperature, plus settings for speed and looping so the transition moves one way or back and forth. Hue loop, which is the same as CCT loop, except this effect cycles between 2 hue and saturation values. Police car, a classic, flashing red, blue, and white lights by default, with additional options to perhaps more accurately represent the severity of the crime, because you can use a single light, double lights, triple lights, or quad lights as seen here, almost represent like an entire squadron of police cars. Next we have flash, which as indicated by its name is a flashing on and off light. Paparazzi simulates flash bulbs from cameras with controls for color, temperature, and speed. Next we have pulse, which is a slow rise and fall of light intensity between 0 and 100. You may use white or RGB light and control the number of pulses per minute. Next we have storm, which simulates lightning with controls for color, temperature, flash times, intervals, and speed to simulate storm intensity. And then we have disco, individually pulsing colors from a nightclub with customizable control over saturation, speed, and the total number of colors or lights. And then finally, we have TV. Simulates the glowing, shifting light of a television screen with controls for color, temperature, and speed. All right, so now that we've covered all the different light modes, let's take a look at the last 3 buttons on the mix panel. We have Preset, Menu, and Lock. Presets help keep your lighting consistent. For example, if there's a particular RGB color and brightness value you want to use again and again across a series of videos, you may save that lighting setup as a preset and then use the light for other things without having to remember what values you used before. One button over, we have Menu. Press Menu on the back of the mix panel, and the first option here is, in my opinion, the most important: lighting mode. This controls the speed of the internal fan, with options for silent, normal, and boost. So the main takeaway here with lighting mode is that, yes, the mix panel can be used in a video setup like this one with a live microphone that might otherwise pick up noise from the light. But when you put this light in silent lighting mode, there's no noise at all. The fan shuts off. It is as indicated by its name, it is 100% quiet. If a microphone is not being used and you don't care about sound, then absolutely put it back in normal, because the light will be a little bit brighter. And it could be just better for the light long term when it comes to its ability to expel heat. It could be better just for the hardware over time, less wear and tear. I don't know that for certain, but that would be my guess. And then perhaps boost would be good if you just need just the maximum brightness from the light. You just want to get as much as you possibly can. Additional settings on the mix panel include rotate screen, which allows you to turn the user interface here upside down if the light was turned one way or another. Screen brightness with 3 options for low, medium, and high might help conserve battery life. DMX channel configuration. Button backlight to turn the button lights back here on and off. There's also a language option to switch between English and Chinese, and then options to reset all the settings, plus a upgrade firmware option as well. Now finally, there is the lock button. Now the lock button all the way down here at the end of the bottom row, this temporarily disables all buttons and knobs on the back of the panel so you don't accidentally switch modes or change values. And as you can see, I can do this all day long and none of the settings are going to change on the light. If you power off the light and then turn it back on, and it's going to need a second to reboot here, when the light reboots, it is back in lock mode. It's still locked, which means that taking a lunch break or something and you want to conserve power, you can just turn it off and back on without losing that lock state. All right, so as mentioned earlier, this MixPanel 150 here has a smaller, more affordable sibling, the MixPanel 60. Now, in fairness, I have not used the 60, but outside of size, weight, maximum brightness, and cost, both lights are effectively exactly the same. The main difference then between the two is brightness. The MixPanel 150 here is 60% brighter than the 60, but costs only 30% more. So while the 150 may be more expensive, it's actually a better value, in my opinion, when comparing relative cost to brightness. So unless for some reason you just want a smaller light, in my opinion, it's better to invest a little more to get over twice as much wattage with the 150. And this is generally true for any type of light, really, where it's always better, I think, to have a little more wattage than you think you may need. All right, let's close out this review of the Nanlite MixPanel 150. Overall, this light, as I said earlier, is an investment. It is a professional quality light. It is, at the end of the day, a powerful creative tool for photographers, videographers, and filmmakers. My advice, if you decide to invest in either the MixPanel 150 or the 60, I would definitely recommend purchasing their softboxes as well. I mean, they're relatively cheap, They're well made. Also, if you watch this video because you're interested in buying an RGB light, but perhaps the mix panel here is just more than you want or more than you really need, I would recommend checking out these little 10-inch PavoTubes that are also made by Nanlite. There's actually, that's one of the tubes back there. Nanlite provided me with both of these. These are small, they were chargeable, and I mean, they're perfect for accent lighting, for practical lighting like that, product photography. They're not as bright, of course, or as configurable as the mix panel here, but they're also much more affordable if you're looking for an RGBW light to get started with. As for the mix panel here, I mean, if you are shopping for a bright panel with loads of creative customization and control, or you are looking to upgrade from smaller, more inexpensive RGB lights like these back here in order to get more volume in your shot, well, I think the mix panel is a really smart investment. The only criticism I have of the mix panel is the lack of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or means to control the light using a mobile app out of the box. Nanlite does sell a separate Wi-Fi adapter, but that's an extra expense. Wouldn't surprise me at all, actually, to see Nanlite eventually upgrade this panel with wireless capabilities in the future. Not saying they will, I have no idea, but it just seems logical because it would make adjusting the light and when powering it on and off much easier when this panel is positioned in hard to reach places. All right, so as usual, if you'd like to check the current price and availability of the Nanlite MixPanel 150 and 60, there are links below for you to use in the description. In full disclosure, of course, those are affiliate links, so if you purchase one, I will receive a small referral fee at no additional cost to you. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And thanks to Nanlite, by the way, for providing me with the MixPanel 150 and for these two PavoTubes. Pavo? I hope it's Pavo. With these two light tubes as well. I've been using all of these recently for some of my product shots, for some of the B-roll that you've been seeing on this channel recently. But I've been using this as a background light to fill the back of the room with color. And I feel like I'm just getting started with these, and I'm just really, really enjoying them and would definitely recommend them to anyone else who's in the market for a similar type of light. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate your time and attention. As always, I hope to see you next time.